up, guys? I'm Olivia.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're Drivin and Vibin.
Today, we are answering your questions about our AIRSTREAM Argosy renovation, from the cost to the challenges to working with brands, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We are so excited to finally be done with this project, and we know a lot of you had some questions for us, so we're going to address some of those today.
And if you did not see the reveal of our finished 1.5 year long project yet, we'll link it above right here. But let's go ahead and hop into your questions. The first one comes from Matthew, and he says, what was the most challenging project that turned into the most enjoyable project?
I can't speak to this one personally, but I think you were really worried about the paint job, and then it ended up being a more enjoyable process than you expected.
Completely, yeah. I think you're right about that. The paint job was one of the most daunting projects that actually wasn't too hard and was super rewarding. Another one of those projects that we really didn't touch on in any video was the propane line being installed. I had no experience prior to this, but it actually turned out to be a lot easier than I anticipated.
For me, I think was kind of learning some carpentry skills and learning how to build out all of these structures inside the rig. I just didn't even know where to begin at first and didn't really have much experience with it. You know, for the most part, me and Caitlin framed up most of the structures in here, so they're not perfect, but passable.
Next up we have Kathy, and she says, you've done a beautiful job. I love everything you've done. Bet you're glad to be finally moved in. Would you recommend taking on a project like this? I have to say, some of our dear friends were going to be getting into a project similar to this, and I just had to recommend, if they want to enjoy their life, not to get into this project. It has its rewards, but if it's not necessary as it was to our life, then I would not recommend taking this on as a hobby unless it's your true passion.
Yes, I think there are people out there that do this for a living who have lots of experience, lots of resources, and they do wonderful, amazing renovations. We follow tons of them on Instagram. I was actually talking to the Modern Caravan today, and they have some beautiful rigs that were such an inspiration to us. It is their passion, but for us, just as a hobby, I don't think we would take this on again unless we had a whole team of people to get it done and a lot more financial resources.
So next up is Allison, and she says, what are the top 3 resources you'd recommend for people doing a vintage AIRSTREAM renovation? I think Olivia probably is better equipped at answering this because she did most of the research.
So I would say Air Forums. It is a great resource. You also have to know how to kind of find the middle ground that works for you, because there's lots of really differing opinions on there as well, but tons of people who have done shell-off restorations and really dove into these projects.
I have to say that Vintage Trailer Supply was a great resource. Even though it wasn't like a community forum, they have so many great out of stock or out of production products there.
Yeah, for vintage trailers and AIRSTREAM specifically, we found lots of like window hardware, seals, gaskets, all sorts of stuff, and it tells you what year models that it works on as well. So that was really helpful. Another great resource is Facebook groups like AIRSTREAM Addicts or the AIRSTREAM Argosy Facebook group. Those were great too because there was other people redoing their rigs. There's a lot of useful information there as well.
So next up we have Karen. We met Karen at the Escapers rally. Good to hear from you. And she says, what was your favorite project you did on the AIRSTREAMs? Mine would have been figuring out the layout and accessorizing. So yeah, what do you think a favorite project was?
Yeah, that was definitely the most enjoyable and daunting part of this process, I think, because there was a lot of pressure riding on this layout, because that's where all of the plumbing and appliances and wiring was going to be ran based off of that. So I spent a really, really long time trying to find out the perfect layout for this rig that would be super functional, have multiple purposes, and also be very aesthetically pleasing and open and airy feeling, because it is still a small trailer. It's only a 24-foot trailer, and I learned how to use that SketchUp program decently well throughout that time, and just trying to figure it out, and it really helped visualize the space. So once we finally decided on a layout, that was a huge relief, and seeing it all come together was an amazing feeling, seeing that vision come to life. And it wasn't really until the last few days we put all the decorations and artwork up. We didn't really know what it was gonna look like until we got done. We had just kind of grabbed random things that we liked and enjoyed, and somehow it all came together in those last few days right before the reveal, and it was a very gratifying process.
Junior asks, how much did we spend? And we didn't keep an exact spreadsheet of what we spent, but the approximate price that was final for this thing was about $10,000 of our money, from actually buying the rig and to putting all of the pieces together.
Yes.
As a back into that question, Elizabeth asks, what is the process of getting sponsors to help you with outfitting and providing tools necessary to accomplish your renovation? Because we want to make sure to let people know that our experience isn't the rule, it's more of the exception. We were so fortunate to be able to partner up with so many brands that helped us fulfill and see the vision with us.
We were super fortunate to be able to work with multiple different companies and brands in the RV industry. And basically that process for us was based around kind of our YouTube channel and the community we had built.
Some of our biggest partners that really helped us put it all together were just dear friends that we've created over the last 3 years. And these are folks from Nomadic and Battleborn who really we have just built a relationship with. So as we began this project, we were in talks with them and excited with them about putting this together. But some of the other companies we worked with, it's kind of just reach out and explain the process of what we're going through and talk to them about how we can see the vision together happen.
Yes, definitely. And we were only working with companies that we knew had a great reputation with not only their products, but their customer service. And we had worked closely with a lot of them, but like Kyle said, some of these smaller ones were just companies we really were interested in, that we were going to pursue anyways. So it was cool to see that they wanted to get on board with our vision as well and saw the value that we could offer to them.
So Andrew has a next question, and he says, did you realize what you were getting into, and is there anything you would have done differently? No, I don't think either of us realized what we were getting into. But if we had to do it again without the wisdom that we obtained during the process, I don't think we would have really done anything differently.
Yeah, so we knew it was going to be a huge project off the bat. We weren't naive to the fact that this was totally out of our realm of expertise. But we didn't know how long it would take. Originally, we were thinking it was going to take like 6 months to do this, and that was a big joke. But yes, I am so grateful that we did this, and I would do it again in a heartbeat, because I'm so happy and proud of ourselves of what we've learned and what we've created through this process. But it was definitely so much harder on our bodies and our mental well-being and everything than I had expected.
So we have the next question, and it is, what did you use for the subfloor? A few questions here. First, the subfloor question. What do we use? I think it was like inch thick plywood that we treated with a waterproof sealant.
We did coat it with a very heavy duty epoxy resin that we got from a marine shop nearby, because we wanted to try to make it as waterproof and impenetrable as possible, because that's just an issue with all of these older Airstreams. They always have rot under the front windows and in the corners of the Airstreams. So we wanted to make sure that it got as much life as possible.
The next question is, do we use regular light fixtures? No, yes and no. We used regular LED inset light fixtures that we could get off Amazon. They were pretty inexpensive, and they have a great finished look to them.
Yes, and all of the lights are 12-volt lights.
Yeah. What did you use to replace the whole shower area? So I built a custom fiberglass pan because we didn't have access to the original one. I did it by stacking foam together, then carving it out so it would slope down to the drain, and coated it with so many coats of fiberglassing to make it have as much integrity as possible.
It was definitely not an easy process by any means, but we had to get very creative with the unique shape and area we were working with.
So Geo Astro RV, our dear friends that are out looking at the stars every night, said, other than space, with the baby on the way, what one thing do you think the two of you will be most thankful for in the new rig?
The added counter space and desk area.
Yeah.
In the AIRSTREAM, we did not have a separate, like, eating work area, so that was a priority for this rig in this layout, and that's what decided the final layout, and I think we're gonna love having that separate workspace.
And I think maybe for me, along with the workspace, the separation that we have now from the bathroom to the living area, it's just nice to have a little extra space.
Yes.
Jay asks, what realistic timeline would you recommend for renovating? I don't know if there's a rule of thumb across the board, but definitely double whatever you expect. There was no project that took the amount of time we expected.
Yeah, if you think a project's going to take a few hours, give yourself a few days.
And if you think a project's going to take a few days, give yourself a few weeks.
Exactly.
So Lisa says, would you do it again? And if you had to do one thing over again, what would you change?
I would do it again for sure. I think what we learned and what we've created is invaluable and priceless. I think if we were to do it all over again, though, we would maybe go with a standard Argosy, which is a little bit wider. That would have given us more flexibility with the layout. I think we're very happy with the layout that we have now, but because of the width of the trailer, we were unable to do a side bath, which is really what we wanted. We wanted to put the bed in the rear, bath on the side, and then have more of a living space up front.
So Todd says, does the trailer have shock absorbers? Yes, it has torsion axles, and there's a shock absorber on each tire. And another question from Todd is, have you been able to keep uninvited guests out of the Airstream like ants or mice?
So we stayed in the Airstream for the very first time last night. There hasn't really been anything in here to attract them, but I made coffee this morning and sat my spoon down that I stirred my coffee with, and within minutes, sugar ants had already found it. So it seems like this rig is no different than any other RV, and we will need to take some precautions to help try to avoid pests and things like that. They could have come out of the plants, or they could have just crawled up the power cord, but I hadn't seen them before, but somehow in a matter of minutes they found that spoon.
So Lisa has the next question, and she says, can you cover water filtration in this Argosy? We have a few different types of water filtration. We'll have a water filter outside that filters the city water coming in. And then as it comes in, for our drinking water faucet, we have an Activa water filter, and that puts it through another carbon filter, but then it filters the water with LED UV ray lights.
Yes, and so it goes through this chamber and actually destroys the bacteria that could be in there, and makes it safe to drink. So we have two different kind of steps, just a regular old Camco filter outside, and then our Activa UV LED water filter inside. We can link to that video to either up above here or down in the description, but it's been great for us and worth the investment for our peace of mind.
Cruisin' for Life says, did you have fun working on your new home? Fun would be probably the fourth or fifth word I used to describe the experience, and definitely would not be the first one that came to mind.
It was honestly more stressful than anything. It was a full-time job.
Yes.
Every day we woke up and we started our day and ended our day working on this Argosy. Kyle was playing gigs at night still, so he was like a champ through all of this. It was really hard. But now that we get to enjoy all of our labor, this is the fun part, actually seeing it all come together and be able to celebrate with everyone during the reveal. I mean, we're so grateful for all of the support and everyone who came out, thankful for everyone who helped us along the way, whether it be our sponsors or our friends. The Mortons were such a huge help.
And that was the most fun part of the whole experience. It was so amazing to get to work with the Mortons, but also just to be able to laugh with friends while we're working on the project.
It really made the process so much more enjoyable. Even when we were working on stressful projects, at the end of the day, we would sit in here on our plywood bed frame or on some framing and eat some dinner that we had thrown together really quickly. Have a glass of wine. You know, it was really, really fun working with the Mortons. That was the highlight to me of the whole process.
Yeah. That is all the questions. If you have a question that we didn't address, go ahead and ask it below. But again, thank you for being on this journey with us. You guys have made it so much more tolerable than it would have ever been.
Without your constant support and encouragement, we might have given up long ago, but you guys have been great throughout this whole process, and we really are grateful.
So give this video a big thumbs up, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.